Alright, Richard, just going through the head, I've determined what's wrong with this particular engine now. The guys that built it sandblasted the motor, and they didn't wash it out well enough. So the little bits of sand have went through and scratched up all those mains and rod bearings. But I can see a little bit that's went through the head. I don't see any problems with it. I'm going to polish it up a little bit. Or I should say I just polished it up a little bit. What we're going to do is I'm going to go with a cam that I had built that I was really happy with it as a rally camshaft. A car that basically sat in third gear and pulled about 6,000 RPM all the time. And we treated it like an automatic, so it was just stuck in third gear the entire time. Somewhat similar to an aircraft. It's a 272, we call it a 570L cam. It's got a 272 grind on it. Very aggressive for a Metro. I'm going to give you a couple of ideas here of what it looks like. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want you to know that I also think that a stock camshaft might work perfect in this. And I think we probably want to try both. That's a stock camshaft profile. Just a standard 1989 to 2000. And then this one is a custom built one. And you can see the lobe tolerance difference in the duration and length and rise, I should say. You've got one that's virtually round like an egg and the other one that's pointed like an arrow. The one that's pointed like an arrow is a 272 grind, and that is what we're going to install in your head. And this would be like a really aggressive RV cam shaft, and really aggressive for like a pickup truck. Say you're going over the pass and you're running, say, like a small block Chevrolet, probably carbureted, so it'd be like an 80s pickup truck. And you've got a heavy camper, but you're also towing like a 17-foot boat. You know, nothing super heavy, but you know, maybe it's got a V8 in it or a V6 as well. So just give you an idea on the loads. But that's what we're going to try. And once you get some hours and stuff on the motor and stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if in your application that if we slapped a stock cam in it, that we wouldn't end up with something that you like too. I don't know exactly what it would be, but normally I have a specific head, my hill climber head setup that I build that works perfect on most aircraft, but your aircraft is heavy and you're looking for some extreme climb out because you're on such a short field. So we're gonna try to up it a little bit. I'm hoping that this just gives you a little bit more climb, even if it's only 50 feet a minute. That'll be you know, that's the half the height of a big tree in the length of a runway. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this dropped in there, and I'm just waiting for the crankshaft to come back so we can get it micro polished. And I decided, instead of going with a stock crank, which I almost always do on everything, on your particular one, to actually cut it to the next bearing size and beef it up with bearings. What else? That's pretty much it on this particular deal. We're reusing your head because I want your powder coat to match the time and effort they put into painting your engine block. If not, I normally would just grab some stuff off the shelf. As you can see in here, maybe it's a good time to show all the sand blasting. It's so they're ultimately usually not that clean. They've got a little discoloration in them, even after they come out of the tanks. But the sand blasting got to it. I washed this one out a few different times and then sprayed it down with oil. I think we're past anything that was in there. Obviously went out the oil filters now. But But that's what we're fighting. I think is just that sandblasting because somebody no, they just didn't understand. And bump 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 bump. So this motor's got all new valves in it. These are the old exhaust valves. They look brand new. I know this camera's not the best for doing up close stuff, but we'll just throw them away. In fact, I think the intakes, they've got to be brand new. They look virtually brand new. But if you rotate them around on my valve grinder, I just look at the seat mark and it's not perfect. It's high on one side, on the other. So that tells me when they were grinding the head, they used stones, and the stone didn't center on the head, so it cut it out of center. At any rate, I hand cut them in with New Way cutters, and then these were all done with a single angle grind, and I use a multiple grind, angle grind. God, I wish you could see better. I'm going to get the HD camera out here. But I'm sure that these valves just have a few minutes on them. I just threw the valve stem seals away in the garbage can, but they were like brand new. So, not that the engine wasn't rebuilt, it just wasn't rebuilt correctly. And yeah, we'll just go from there. Also, I need you to get back to me on this. What you want to do for, since they run the water jacket through the EGR port, and we're going to go with an e-computer. I think to get out of the problems you're having now with the injection system, but they don't do our thermostat in this application, which I think is a mistake. And they want you to take and go into the radiator hose line with an aluminum plug and drill a hole in it, and then just keep opening the hole up until the engine runs at the right temperature, and they want to call that a zero failure. And then you're going to need one for summer and winter and maybe fall and spring to get the right temperature. I think that's just a nightmare. So holler back at me, because on that I had an idea of having the machine shop make us a dual thermostat housing with one radiator hose in and one radiator hose out, if you follow me on that. And it wouldn't happen here on your head anymore. It would happen in the long radiator hoses that go down to under the cowling of the radiator. But I'm thinking two thermostats in one housing next to each other, so if one ever fails, you're automatically rolled into the other one, and then we just every couple of years just throw them away for fun. Realistically, Metros never have thermostat failures, but if that's what we're worried about, I think it's ridiculous to run the engine at the wrong temperature. And then what else should I have there going on? I had, oh, you know what, I got the bench right here. Then the other thing is, and I am positive this is from not having the right thermostat in it, but if you look on this thing, if I can get in just the right light, there's all these scratches. The piston, and this motor's been bored out too. You know, nobody took a shortcut on it. They just didn't do a good job doing it. God, I don't know if you can see that, but there's some scuff lines in the piston, and I'm positive it was trying to seize up. Or not seize up the, I just think that without having a thermostat in there, I think the cylinder wall was cut not quite wide enough, and a lot of people tried to keep the tolerances really tight. I think it was too tight, then the fluctuation in temperature, potentially you're sitting at the end of the runway, I'm thinking. You got the toe brakes locked, maybe you're waiting for traffic pattern to clear out, and the temperature's rising and rising and rising, and you've got no thermostat, and then your piston starts to do a little something, but it's in an idle, so it's not really terrible, and then you stab the throttle in and you get some air through the radiator and it drops down, you know, instantly. But as the EGTs are just spiking up, so you got the top of the piston doing one thing, the side of the cylinder wall is doing something totally different. Nothing is balanced at all. And I think we end up with these scratch marks in these pistons, and they're all identical. But you can see like the rings are brand new that are in here. Obviously we're going to throw those away again, because these are 0.5 pistons. I don't know if you can see that. No, you probably can't. So these are half a millimeter over, about 20 thousandths. We're going to go out to a full millimeter, because I want a fresh bore. And yeah. And gosh darn it, you can even see how this rod was sandblasted. But I know everybody wants everything to be pretty and clean inside an engine, but when you're rebuilding, absolutely unnecessary. Sandblasting just impregnates sand particles in pieces, and then as the engine heats up, the metal expands and they fall out, and it's the worst debris you could have in an engine. I mean, it's probably worse than dumping a pan full of metal grindings or metal shavings in it, because the metal shavings are so big they probably can't go anywhere. Yeah, I think that's probably good enough for this video, because that's more than I was going to do anyhow. We're going to use your old oil pump because it's brand new. There's nothing wrong with it all. I've already had it apart and put back together. I'm very happy with that, and I don't remember, there was something else I was going to touch on, but we'll get to it another time. Mostly this video is about camshafts. If you were wondering about them, that it doesn't tell you anything, but you can see the difference in what we're after. This valve is going to come up and slam closed and drop down, and the other one is going to come up in the intake and valves, and this one will hold more running compression than this particular camshaft and the stock one. What it's going to do for you up in the air, I don't know, because I've never ran that aggressive, but I really think we need to on yours. It doesn't change any horsepower or anything really, it just moves the torque around a little bit. And what I'm hoping is with that valve's coming up and both of them snapping closed, we're going to have just that bigger bang for our buck as you're wide open. And then when you're cruising, who cares, because you're backed out of the throttle so far. The plane doesn't have a cruise problem. And that's where we're headed on this particular one. Get back to me on that thermostat thing though. I have all kinds of mental issues and problems with not running a regulated engine block.